After 2.5 years, Thames Valley Police have admitted that they were wrong to arrest a protester who shouted, "Who elected him?" at a royal event. A 45-year-old Simon Hill was arrested, handcuffed and bundled into a police van at a proclamation ceremony for King Charles in 2022. Several other anti-monarchy protesters were also arrested. Novara Media's Simon Charles writes this. In police body-worn footage shared during the legal challenge, officers can be heard saying, "But we do need to fine or de-arrest as we will get a complaint off the back of this." Hill was charged despite this. Katie Watts, a lawyer at human rights organisation Liberty, which helped Hill pursue the legal challenge, said, "It is quite clearly not a criminal offence to shout who elected him, and the body-worn footage clearly shows that the arresting officer was aware of this." Hill has now received compensation of £2,500. He said it has taken the police 2.5 years to recognise that expressing an opinion in the street is not a crime. Opposing the monarchy is not a crime. CEO of the anti-monarchy campaign group Republic, Graham Smith, gave this comment on the case. Simon had absolutely every right to express his view in public. No law was broken. It is clear the police knew that, yet they went as far as charging him. As well as a review of protest law, there needs to be consequences for police officers who commit unlawful arrests. I hope the officers in Simon's case face disciplinary action for their appalling abuse of power. Should have got more than $2.5 grand, right? You've got malicious prosecution. You've got wrongful arrest. I mean, come on. Maybe I should be one of those, I've already done a Breaking Bad reference tonight. We need more Saul Goodmans on the left. Mike, what do you make of this? I mean, I think we need a constitutional right to free speech in this country, not least because the police don't seem to think we have the right to free speech.
Yeah, this is a worrying story. I think what we saw under the Conservative Party, especially in the latter years of the Conservative Party, the regime, and I think about Black Lives Matter has been a watershed moment for the Conservative Party and their attack on protest. That's what we saw. We saw a concerted attack by the Conservative Party on protest and the framing of people who were peacefully protesting, by the way, as a problem, as a threat, et cetera, et cetera. We also saw a similar we've seen and continue to see a similar backlash to people like Just Stop Oil, who again, generally engage in peaceful protests. This protest might be disruptive, but it is peaceful. It's non-violent. They are not burning buildings or anything, right? And I think broadly that's worrying, right? Because we live in a democracy. Now, one of the core tenets I always teach my students when we cover democracy in our year 1 politics module about democracy is the right to protest is a fundamental right. It is sacrosanct in a democracy. Now, if someone is going to be arrested for that comment by the police and the police are going to act in that way over a gentle comment, a non-violent comment, that is a worry. That is a worry for democracy. That is not useful or healthy at all. And I believe so strongly in the right to protest, right? I believe I wasn't, for example, an anti-vaxxer, but if a group of anti-vaxxers during COVID wanted to, and I'm talking about the time during COVID when there were no restrictions, right? But if they were angry about the vaccines, they had a right to protest, much like people who were pro-vaccines had the right to protest. So it's not just about protests I agree with. People should have the right to protest about the things they care about. So I think we are entering a really worrying age where, especially because the Conservative Party set such strong grounds for the attack on protest, including the kind of public order bill, which had contained some horrific details. And to my knowledge so far, Labour haven't done that much to speak out against this or to make it one of their core missions to uphold the right to protest. And I think this is really worrying and for our democracy more broadly, because it isn't just about the right to protest being kind of undermined here and freedom of speech, but also what protest can do and what protest has done. Often protests enrich our knowledge on a particular issue. Often protests in kind of create debates and discussions. And we need to have discussions. Like we need to, for example, have discussions about the monarchy. Should we have monarchy? Should we not? We can't just quell discussions around anti-monarchy and be like, well, no, you get arrested, you get thrown in a box, see you later. That's not useful. How democracy works is we have conversations, we protest, but it's a dynamic, ongoing process between us as citizens and maybe between citizens, but also between us and the state. That's how democracy should work. So it is worrying that this guy who says this thing about the monarchy is arrested. So yeah, I think I worry about the right to protest more broadly, and I worry about the lack of efforts by not the Conservative government, by the Labour governments to uphold our fundamental right to protest.
Like I say, I think we need that written constitution. Make it small, make a little booklet, You can say, my right to free speech. It's kind of extraordinary. I've seen this so many times firsthand. Police officers arresting people, they're clearly not sure if the person's actually broken the law. They just don't like the look of them. Fortunately, in this instance, you have a cam and it's recording these conversations. Crazy. By the way, I like body cameras. I think they're really good. There was that argument a few years ago, wasn't there? Don't have them. The more that we've had mobile phones on protests recording police officers, the more of this stuff we've seen. Lies, false arrests, malicious prosecutions have been exposed. So the more cameras, the better. Great.